Zoho announced 8 major updates for Zoho CRM that you will absolutely love if you are a Zoho CRM power user. The Zoho Finance portals are changing URLs, so you'll want to send new links to your customers if you haven't already configured a custom domain. Multi-channel inbox is now available for the Zoho app team inbox, allowing you to consolidate Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and more channels into one application. In this video, we'll be covering all of this and more of Zoho's newsworthy announcements over the past week. Now, I'm Drew Brockbank. I'm an official Zoho partner, and I'm the lead Zoho consultant of Brockbank Consulting. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for Zoho training and Zoho updates. If you need Zoho help, book a free consultation so that you can get the professional Zoho help that you need. All right, it is time to see if you guys can handle all these major updates that are coming to Zoho CRM. Okay, so here are the announcements for these Zoho CRM updates. You can see that we've got 8 of them here, and we're going to dive into every single one of them and go in depth on why they're important and why you should care about them. Okay, so the first is an announcement for enhanced duplicate checking for leads. And before I go into this one, realize that these are going to be rolled out over time, and Zoho's not giving specifics for which of these 8 are going to be rolled out at which times, but you can expect to see these changes rolled out for your instance of Zoho CRM over the next couple of months. So it's going to happen in phases. It's not going to happen all at once. You can see that is announced here. Okay, so enhanced duplicate checking for leads. So in the past, when you went to do duplicate prevention, you would go into the layout for Zoho and you would select a field such as the email and you would mark it as a unique value. And when you mark it as a unique value, you're saying it has to be unique so that if someone in the future tries to create a lead with the same email, it will say, no, you can't create this. There's already a lead that exists. That's how you prevent duplicates. Now, the interesting thing that Zoho has done here is you can now add a unique value from the leads module for the contact. So you can say, hey, if a contact exists with the same email, we don't want you to be able to create it. So if you watch this 20-second clip, what's interesting is if you go to leads and you go to the 3 dots on the side of leads, this is in the modules and fields section, you'll see a new thing here for duplicate prevention, which is right here. Duplicate check preference. And then from there, you can say, hey, we're going to check duplicates in the contacts module. You can even do it in the converted leads module, which is interesting. I'm going to tell you why I don't like this in a second, but there are things that I do like about this. You can check duplicates in contacts. So you can say, hey, the lead has an email. Then we want to check the contacts email for a duplicate email. That way we can prevent people from creating duplicates. Then you can even use mobile phone number as a unique value as well. So whatever unique values exist within the leads module, those are the different values you can match up with the contacts. Once you save that, what's interesting is when you go to actually create the record, you will see in the email, if you type in a duplicate, it will say duplicate values are not allowed. An existing contact with the same email has been found, right? Not an existing lead with the same email, an existing contact. So that's really nice to be able to reference that. This is appropriate for some use cases. I have a client right now that the lead in contacts module represents their customer journey for a bunch of details and reasons that I'm not really going to go into in this video, but it is quite interesting. So this would fit their use case. But for most people, I don't love this update. And the reason I don't love this update is it's assuming that the lead is a person, and the lead is most definitely not a person. The lead represents a unqualified opportunity to do business with someone. So in the same way a deal, you can have multiple deals associated to a person or account. You can have multiple leads that come in. Those just represent various requests or intents. They're almost like these registrations of interest for a product or service that someone is providing. So it doesn't necessarily represent a person, and this assumes that it is. So Zoho kind of contradicts itself here because that is how Zoho interprets leads, or at least how it is designed to be used. Zoho intends you to use the leads module in that way. So that's the reason I don't love this, but I do like aspects of it. Okay, dynamic filters for lookup fields. This is really interesting as well. So if you are familiar with dependency fields, what you can do inside of Zoho CRM is you can say, hey, if lead source type equals X, then I only want to show in the lead source field ABC. And if it's Y, if lead source type is value Y, then I want to show lead source values XYZ. So you can choose what shows up in one field based on the value of another field. The cool thing is now you can do that with lookup fields, which is really interesting. So if you watch this clip, you can see how this works. So once you go to the lookup field inside of the module editor, you can go to filter lookup fields. And then from here, you can say, hey, we're going to do a lookup filter and we're going to base this on the vendor industry. Okay, so if vendor industry is any of these values is industry type, then we are going to, and sorry, you're selecting a field for the lookup module, right? So vendor industry, and you're saying, hey, inside of this this lookup, if the value is a industry type from the deals module, then we're just going to filter for those options. That'll make more sense in just a moment. When you see here, if you fill in industry type, you can see no vendor found, but if you select industry type, then all of a sudden these will all populate. Only the vendors that have that industry type will populate, but you're selecting the industry type from the deal. So hopefully that makes sense. When you're selecting a vendor, now it's just going to show those with the industry type that you defined on the deal. So it just helps you not get overwhelmed with all these various options when you're looking for another record through the lookup. Now you can filter it down based on other values within the same module, in this case, the deals module. So very interesting update. There's going to be a lot of, this is going to be a very useful update for a lot of people. Something to be excited about. Okay, richer search experience with precise results and follow-up actions. Quick thing here. If you're not already using the different hotkeys or shortcuts within Zoho, I highly recommend it. You can turn it on, and then it's / to activate the search functionality within Zoho CRM specifically. And I absolutely love search. I think our brains are wired for search. Obviously, you use search engines all the time. We use ChatGPT. We are, when we think of something, it's easiest for us to just go to the search for what we thought of, and then have everything associated with that search pop up. Now, that's really the idea behind the global search functionality within Zoho. So now there is this has been enhanced. We've already had this, but now there's a couple of modifications that have been made. So the latest enhancements to the global search makes finding information in Zoho CRM more user-friendly and precise. You can now filter search results based on modules, record names, tags, and refine results further using additional filters. Additionally, you can view added context for search results, quickly take follow-up actions, and use improved filtering and sorting options as SIA or AI. Sales Assistant can also be accessed directly in global search. So the nice thing is when you search, number one, you can filter based off other criteria, as mentioned, modules, record names, and tags. And then number two, you're going to see these quick actions here like email and call. So from the search, you can email, call, you can follow up and do what you need to do. So that's really helpful. You don't have to then, I mean, this is such a first world problem, but Zoho solves first world problems, right? I mean, when you view the record, you want to be able to take action. You don't have to click into the record first and then take action. So that's the idea, is that you can take action from the search, which I love. I am all about being able to do things in less clicks, because more clicks, more confusion. Number 4, new options for more flexible validation rules. Okay, so this was announced previously, but they just rolled this up into this master announcement, if you will, for Zoho CRM. So Zoho's mentioned that they've added this new configuration for validation rules for increased flexibility. Okay, I actually love this update. When you add a validation rule, you're saying, hey, certain values will not be allowed for certain fields. And so what you're able to do now is not just on save, right? So normally how this would work is you would go into Zoho CRM, you'd go into a record, and before you press save, it would say, and then it would show you all the different fields that wouldn't, that are invalid based on criteria that you've added to your validation rule. So for example, if you had a validation rule on the email field that @gmail.com is not a domain that's allowed. Let's just say you were trying to clean things up and you wanted people to find their professional email address, your sales reps, and you wanted to enforce that. That would only throw up an error when you saved the record. Now it works a lot better. So you can say field verify and save. So as they're filling out the field, either on the record creation page, the edit page, or on the record view page, it will work, and it will just, you can have an right here, invalid, an invalid message, or you can actually have it pop up at the top right here. So you can say, these fields are invalid. Which is nice. So you can choose where the error alert is going to appear, and whether it be under the field or on top of the record. And then the nice thing about this as well is you can actually just warn people, but actually let them do it. So say, ideally, you would add an email without an @gmail.com, right? So in this use case, it's saying that if you it's basically a use case where for your sales team, let's say this is the one that they use and I'm using the Gmail one. But Zoho is saying if you had a rule with your sales team that they can't give a discount of more than a discount greater than 10%, then here you could enforce that. But then you can, for a use case where you were with your sales team and you said, but you can do beyond another percent. So here, for example, it is ideal if the discount is less than 15%. The discount is 17%. It just allows you to do an alert. So it's not stopping them, but it's just saying, hey, we want to avoid this if we can. So that's the idea. So you could do the same thing with my use case for @gmail.com. You could just say, hey, ideally, it's not @gmail.com. It's their custom domain, but we'll allow it. So that's the idea behind this. You can add a little more flexibility into the record value validation fields, validation rules. Number 5, improved data management in analytics. Okay, so 2 new features here. One is component filters, and restoring recently deleted components and dashboards is the other. So component filters, if you are familiar at all with how Zoho Analytics works, you can add at the top of a Zoho Analytics dashboards these different dropdowns, and they're filters for the entire dashboard. Now that's really helpful. But inside of Zoho CRM Analytics, which is completely different, Zoho Analytics is a separate app altogether. Zoho CRM Analytics allows you to filter specific criteria for that specific component. We can call it a report to, instead of filtering for the entire dashboard. So you can see once this clip runs and they click apply here, it only updated for this specific component as opposed to the entire dashboard in Zoho CRM Analytics. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if a dashboard or component is deleted by accident or was not required at a certain point but is needed back, it can easily be restored within 30 days, minimizing disruption and facilitating data recovery. Fantastic. Fantastic. We remove things all the time and then we wish we hadn't. It's going to be available for 30 days if you remove a component. So you can see in this clip, you go over to dashboards and then you go to recently deleted. You can basically look at your trash bin and you can restore various components that you've removed. Excellent update. Fantastic work from the Zoho CRM team. They probably already know that, but they're killing it. Number 6, bulk additions and enhanced permissions for subforms. Don't you just love how that feels like a Dr. Seuss rhyme? Bulk additions and enhanced permissions for subforms. We are introducing 2 highly anticipated subform features. Bulk additions, you're going to love this, via lookup, and subform permissions. That one's okay. Bulk additions via lookup, this is great. You can now add multiple entries to a subform all at once via lookup, significantly speeding up data entry. Okay, so in the past, you had to go into subform. Let's say you were in the quotes module. That's going to be the use case here. You're quoting a customer. Now, as you quote the customer, let's say you sell a broad range of products. Do you want to add a line item manually over and over again for every single item that you're going to quote them? No, you don't want to do that. If you could, it'd be nice to just select all the products and then have them populate with the respective information. You can now do that with this update. So you can see here, first you got to turn it on. So you go to the subform, and then you go to edit properties. And then from edit properties, you can say allow bulk addition. And then you choose module. Now it's assuming if you're in the quotes module, you're going to want to do this for product. However, with other custom subforms, you'll be allowed to select the module that you want and then allow columns to add value. What you're saying here is I want to add quantity manually after I choose the products to add in bulk. So you'll see how this works. In the next part of this clip, once you actually go to the quote and create a quote, you'll be able to select from the lookup list all the values you want. And so you can add them in bulk. So instead of clicking add new row and then adding 30 rows and then selecting the product for all of them, you can go to add multiple row from this drop down. And then you'll be able to you could even select the one box for select all and select all the products that you want and then work your way back. So you can see here, 3 have been selected, and then you add values. Remember before, quantity was the value that was selected. Now add values, quantity, you can now go instead of default 1, you can select them all. You can fill it out here, which makes way more sense than adding them all individually and then working your way back. Again, a first world problem, but guess what? All these updates are solving first world problems, software problems, and it's great for us. All right. So additionally, administrators can manage subform permissions more effectively, allowing specific roles to view, add, edit, or delete subform data as needed. This ensures that not only authorized users can make changes, this ensures that only authorized users can make changes, maintaining data integrity. Okay, so the nice thing is instead of just making it the Wild West and it's a free-for-all and anyone can do whatever they want inside of your system to the subforms that exist within your modules, now you can configure who can do what based on their profile. So within Zoho CRM, it looks like this. There is a cogwheel gear icon. And then from here, you can go to set permission. We'll wait for the clip. You'll see set permission, previous purchase, right? Previous purchase. That's a custom subform that's been added to the leads module. And here you can do view, create, edit, delete for the various profiles that exist in your system. So you can choose what they're able to do, how they're allowed to modify the system and modify the subform based on their profile. Very, very helpful stuff. Not as cool as the bulk add via lookup, but cool nonetheless. Number 7, advanced filtering with multi-select pick list. This is long overdue, but it is fantastic. You can now filter your data with the convenience of displaying values in a dropdown, just like in single pick list. Okay, so there's been this problem where if you don't know the difference between a pick list, multi-select pick list, instead of being able to select one option, the multi-select pick list, you guessed it, you can select multiple options. That way, you can store more information under a pick list field. So that's really, really helpful. What's not helpful in the past is that you haven't been able to filter based on those values, only pick lists, which makes it really confusing from a user because you're like, how do I pare down the view of all these records based on my multi-select pick list? Now you're able to do that. And you're able to do it inside of the filter section in the record list view page, the list view page, doing all the records in a list. You can now go to filter. You can search for the multi-select pick list. Now you have way more options than before. You can do is, which is that's the only option that's there, or you can grab multiple. And so you'll see here includes all. You can select multiple and say, hey, all of these need to be selected in order for me to see a list of these. Or skip ahead a little bit. You can even do includes any. So there's just more capability there that will be enhanced. That functionality will be enhanced, which is great. Number 8, access lead history post-conversion for improved follow-ups. Okay, I love this. So one of the major problems with using the leads module for people, although it's helpful, it's useful, and most of the time it's necessary and people just don't understand it, and then they move away from the leads module only to recreate the functionality that it was originally intended to serve, but they didn't understand at the time, so they ditch it only to recreate it later. So I am a big fan of the leads module for most organizations. but I can only really understand if it's going to be useful for an organization where people don't have to use it if I actually analyze their business and assess their business. Anyways, the cool thing about this is if you go inside of Zoho CRM into a contact or the record that was converted from a lead, right? Because a lead becomes a potentially contact, account, and deal. You can go to view lead history. Okay. Contact created by conversion, view lead history. Now you're able to see the history of that lead over time. So you can see what's already been done. What are the interactions that have already been had? If you want to actually see the lead details, you can go to lead conversion, but honestly, you will lose data because when you go to lead conversion, it just shows this window conversion details. So be aware of that. But anyways, that's one of the major issues is you're not able to access the timeline after lead conversion. So this allows you to get the bigger picture of what's happened with an opportunity over time. Okay, so those are the 8 major updates inside of Zoho CRM. You should be excited about these. These are going to be very helpful for the day-to-day workflow of most Zoho CRM users in some way, shape, or form. And then if you are a Zoho CRM Power user, you're going to be absolutely stoked that these functionalities are going to be rolled out. So in the next couple of months, look for these 8 updates in Zoho CRM. Next thing, customer portal and vendor portal will soon be hosted on a new domain. Okay, so you can see this is for Zoho Books, but they're rolling this out across all the different Zoho Finance applications. I'm just choosing Zoho Books so that I don't go through the same announcement in 7 different windows for you. Okay, so here's the old domain for the US, if you're in the US, and here's the new one. So it's different, not a lot different. It has Zoho Secure in the new domain. So for the various data centers, these are the different, you'll want to take note of this. These are the new domains. Why should you even care? Well, if you offer the portal to various customers and they have that URL bookmarked, it's not going to work anymore unless you've configured a custom domain, which a lot of you haven't done. So you're going to want to send this new domain to your customers if you've enabled it for them. So just be aware of that, that this change is happening, and you should only worry about it if you haven't configured a custom domain for your Zoho Finance, being Books or any of the other Zoho Finance applications. You offer that to your customers. This is something that you'll want top of mind. Okay, launching multi-channel inboxes in Zoho Team Inbox. If you don't know what Zoho Team Inbox is, by the way, this is not what I'd say is one of the popular Zoho applications, or really the core one, any of the core ones. But Zoho Team Inbox is essentially a shared email inbox if you're not inside of customer service. Zoho Desk is a shared inbox, and Zoho Desk is a core application I'd consider inside of Zoho. If you think about revenue operations, right? Marketing, sales, service is centered on Zoho Desk. Okay, that's a shared inbox for handling customer support. Team Inbox is pretty much Zoho Desk for other areas of the business, like marketing, like sales. If you're a bigger organization, this is going to be interesting for you. And the reason that you'd want to take advantage of Team Inbox is instead of tackling all of the requests and the emails that come into your email inbox by yourself, if you want to distribute all of the requests to a team, this makes it much easier. You can do it from one place. Okay, so what's changed? I mean, that's already done. What's changed is now it's multi-channel. Or in other words, WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram are now rolled into Team Inbox. Okay, so your messages can now enter as different, let's call them, I think they call them strings or threads. They enter as different threads. You can think of it in Zoho Desk, if you're more familiar, like tickets, they enter as different tickets. And you can assign those threads to various people so that they are all, someone has responsibility of all the threads coming into your organization, but then someone can tackle a message or finish a thread for someone who may be out of the office or has abandoned a thread. So that's the idea behind this update. If you want to see the update, there is a video on this announcement. I'll be sending out the URLs to all of these announcements in my newsletter. If you want to sign up for a registration of interest form on my website or book a free consultation, you'll enter that and get the newsletter so that you can see this if you want to check it out for yourself. Okay, we've enhanced our Zoho CRM and Zoho Projects integration. Here's what's new. Okay, Okay, so this actually happened 9 days ago, and usually I do this video on the last 7 days, but I haven't done a Zoho News video in a while, but I decided that it'd be worth to do that again. So if you guys like the Zoho News videos, let me know. I can keep making them. But for major announcements, I think it's good to cover stuff. Okay, so the new updates for Zoho CRM and Zoho projects, relatively new. It was 9 days ago. 9 days ago from the time I've actually created this video. Don't know when you're watching it, but when you go in here into Zoho CRM and you've initiated the Zoho projects integration in the Zoho section, in the settings section of Zoho, there is this new window that will pop up showing you what information from Zoho CRM is going to what information in Zoho projects. So as a use case from my own organization, Brockbank Consulting, when I sign a new client, I go into their deal and then I create a project. And the nice thing about that is I can see project information from the deal. I can see what the milestone completion is. I can see the task completion. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of partners out there, calling out some specifically, some large Zoho partners that don't even use Zoho projects. They don't even use those integrations. And they're really important to use because I consult people who use them. So it only makes sense. It's only fair to the client to do that. But when you go in here, you want to be able to see, hey, what's going to fill the value in Zoho projects for, let's say, the client company? Because I work with clients and I want their information to be inside the project too. But that information is in Zoho CRM. So that's what's nice about the integration is I can create the project from the CRM and all the information populates into Zoho projects the way that I want. So that's what's really helpful about this. Is you can see client configuration. It just now shows you. So this was actually happening before. It just wasn't being explicitly displayed to users. So now it is. See accounts coming over to client company, contacts over to client. So that's really helpful. Just gives you more visibility, more efficient data entry. It allows you to now as well, Zoho CRM modules, additional Zoho CRM modules are going to display Zoho projects for the integration. So usually comes out of the box for accounts, contacts, and deals, I believe. Now you can add more modules, which is really, really interesting. Simplified permission management. Setting up and managing access to project details is now easier with a simplified interface. You can quickly assign, view, or edit permissions across your team, ensuring everyone has the appropriate level of access to project data. So from the Zoho CRM side, you decide who can see what based on their profile inside of Zoho CRM in regards to the Zoho projects integration. Do you need to do this? I wouldn't stress too much about it unless people don't have access to what they need. And for a smaller organization, I don't hate the idea of doing a Wild West situation where you pretty much give all access except for removing information. But then as your organization grows and your access becomes more of a concern for various users, that's when you can really dive deep into this. But now it's been simplified, so the interface isn't as confusing. So that's helpful too. Enhance data visibility with mapping fields from lookup module. Love the way that's phrased. Zoho Recruit. Okay, so Zoho Recruit, if you are a Zoho Recruit user, 7 days ago from the time of this recording, there's been a new announcement. Now this flies through it super, super fast, but essentially what you're able to do is from a lookup field, you can bring in additional data into a record. So for example, I'm going to break this down. This is moving super fast. It's kind of annoying, but essentially what you do, I'll just put it on me. So let's say you're in a record inside of Zoho Recruit. What you can do is if you're looking up to another record, you can say, I want XYZ value or field from another record to populate the record that I'm currently in. So in this use case, to make sense of that with with this super quick give thing, you can see they're in the candidate, they select the associated job, and they've added fields. And so once they actually grab the job from the candidate, it populates pay. Okay, that was super quick, but you get the idea. You can now choose fields from a module that's being looked up to populate the record that you're on. Okay, this is so much better. You can map the fields from a lookup field, add those fields, pay as an example, so that once you save it, as you're looking up to the record, you can bring that information in instead of having to do double entry. You may think to yourself, oh, well, I'm in Zoho Recruit now. I look up to a record and that record has information I want on the record that I'm on, being the candidate record. and have to key it in all manually. Now you don't have to do that. This update will make it so that that information will populate automatically for you. Hopefully that makes sense. This one's a very niche requirement, but it's helpful for those of you who are Zoho Recruit power users. Next thing here, dive into GC flow metrics. And we all know what GC is, right? No, GC is guided conversations. I didn't know either when I first looked at this. I was like, what's GC? GC metrics offers detailed insights into every step of the customer journey. Okay, before we get into this, if you don't know what guided conversations is, it's actually really interesting. It's a widget, and you can think of it like a chatbot where there's a chat interface. It's like ChatGPT, but it's way more structured. So you can collect information up front. This is in Zoho Desk, by the way. So in Zoho Desk, you can create this chatbot that essentially says, hey, upload file here. What's your first name? What's your last name? And you can ask those questions and have a structured flow for collecting that kind of data. And then from that data you can create a ticket. So just instead of having someone just email support@yourdomain.com, you can have them fill out a structured series of information, almost like it's a form, but it's in a chat interface, and that it can send over to you. That's an oversimplification of the feature, but it gets the idea across, and that's what you need to know. That's what's important to know. The nice thing is you can now measure flow metrics from GC, guided conversations. So you can see how many people are going through the flow and how well it's doing. So in this example, this is a pretty good example. 125 people go over to the welcome message, 80 people click on the button Z phone giveaway, and 32 people drop off or buy Z phones. So now you know, okay, we're going to do some conversion rate optimization. We're going to go with Z phone giveaway, and we're going to drop buy Z phones. And then they go to enter their email, and then it creates a ticket in Zoho Desk. So that's the idea of guided conversations. Guided conversations is already a feature. What's interesting now is you can go through GC metrics. So you can see the total visitors through certain interactions that you've designed for the GC chatbot. So that's what's helpful about that. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you need additional help for Zoho and you want additional help for free, I have a free training. It's called Z Training. It's on my website. Go ahead and check it out. You can get it for free. Just submit your email and then let me know. I'm debating on whether or not I should just make Z Training available without you even having to put in your email. I don't want to bug you with an opt-in, and I'm trying to make all this training available in the easiest way possible for people so that they can consume it without feeling like they've got to, sign up to get blasted with emails. I don't do that anyways. I just send out my newsletter, but you get the idea. So let me know if you think it should just be basically embedded on the page, or if you guys like the interface that it brings you to after. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.